So today I'm coming to you not just a relocation specialist and a realtor in Asheville, North Carolina, but also as a homeowner who've been in the same home here in Asheville for 19 years this year, been in the same home and lived to tell you about this one home feature that is most common in all the homes of Western North Carolina that, if ignored, can create a lot of problems for you, your family, your home, and your health. So this most common feature in most of Western North Carolina homes is not the porch and porch life that it provides, but a foundation. So the three most common foundation types here in Western North Carolina are the slab, crawl space, and the basement. And one of them is the worst, in my humble opinion, being a homeowner and a realtor here in Asheville, because if left unattended and neglected, it can create a lot of problems for you. And it's one of the ones that most people get a very wrong advice on from some of the contractors and inspectors. Sorry, but I will die on this hill. And in this video, you will know exactly why. And the reason I said I will die on this hill is because we went through all the stages of home ownership where we tried to ignore, first of all, crawl space as our foundation. Then we tried to mitigate some of the issues that it created, or environment in the crawl space that was creating some other issues. And then thousands of dollars that we spent to hopefully mitigate and put all those issues behind us. So if you might know, two biggest enemies of any property is fire and water. Equally destructive and equally can create a lot of issues and a lot of problems. So here in this area, of course, we do have some fires, but it's the water that creates more problems for any property here in Western North Carolina than anything else. And water intrusion is one of the biggest issues. It can create problems for all three types of foundation. You can have water intrusion even if your property is on the slab. Ask me how I know. Same goes for crawl space and the basement. So believe it or not, this is a slab. This is an example of a slab foundation, even though it looks kind of high and it could have easily been a crawl space. This builder, this little developer, chose to pour this giant slab instead of crawl space, which is good. Comes to slabs and basements, not necessarily the easiest, but it is the easiest thing to do is for the builder to create positive slope. The slope that allows the water to flow away from the house. That's number one. If the property is on the slope, then there needs to be some kind of water diversion system or, landscaping created that way that the water flows towards the house and then goes around the house and flows away from the house. And of course, same goes for crawl space that we have right here at this house. So when we first start looking into the issue of having moist, I know not a lot of people like that word, but humid crawl space at our house. First thing, of course, we looked into diverting the water away from the house, which we have positive slope, meaning the water flows away from the house. But we did have one place where the water was kind of pooling in front of the house. And so a couple $1,000s later, we hired a landscaper or a contractor rather who kind of specializes in water management around the house, and he created this drainage for us so that way the water, from the gutters, from the downspouts, flows away from the house and not pulling right in front of our foundation and goes into the crawl space. We also had some mold management done. The crawl space was cleaned. We replaced the vapor barrier in our crawl space in hopes that it will solve the issue now that we have this drainage installed. And if you think that the vapor barrier is not the solution to mitigate moisture levels and humidity in the crawl space and only encapsulation will solve that problem, I will challenge you on that as well. Another client of ours over a year ago bought a house, and when we looked at the house initially, the crawl space was completely encapsulated, and it looked, on paper, when we looked at it, it looked so clean. It looked like you could eat from that floor. If you've seen any encapsulation work, it's mostly done with this white plastic and everything just looks sparkling clean. But when we did inspection and we tested mold levels, it showed that it had high mold levels, all kinds of mold, because it was done incorrectly, because the seller kind of hired a company that, one of those that says, I can do it cheaper. Well, this is not something where you can cut the corners, and not something that where you can, let's do it cheaper and just get it done and get it over with. It was not done correctly, and it was still letting moisture and all those kind of things happen. Mold was growing inside there, even though it did look very clean. So what I'm saying is that encapsulation is not something that is necessary in all the cases, especially in a case like our crawl space. And most crawl spaces in Western North Carolina, I feel are like this. They're pretty useless. Maximum you can do is maybe store a few things. We have a few jugs of water, post-Helene stuff and post-Helene habit to have some water stored, maybe a few shovels, but that's about it. I mean, it's a crawl space. And I hired another inspector who specializes in home inspection and how to preserve the integrity of the house, but also health of humans in those homes. And what he was telling me, the advice he was telling me, completely contradicted the advice that most general contractors will tell every homeowner when they do inspection on the crawl spaces or in the basements. And that is to keep those little windows that you see right here, and those are vents, they're called vents, open during summertime and close them in winter. So the idea behind it is that you close them in winter so it's nice and warm, so that pipes didn't burst or whatever. What we did is having somebody come, treat the wood again, clean everything, shut those little windows completely, so that there's not even an option to open them, so that no moisture, no air from the outside will enter the crawl space. Then another problem with crawl spaces is that a lot of them have HVACs. HVAC, air handler, is also located in that dark crawl space right there. So guess what's happening with those HVACs? They start growing mold if, again, left untreated, left neglected, and left unattended. And that is exactly what started happening with our HVAC. So it wasn't just the integrity of the house itself, but also our health. We were breathing mold because it was going into all the duct work and in the air handler, so it was circulating inside the house. $10,000 later or more at this point, we had yet another duct work done, meaning we had all the ducts cleaned, we had air handler cleaned, we had those little windows shut and sealed. We had ducts coming into the lower level because they were the worst and you cannot scrub them. They were the worst and covered with mold, completely replaced. And we had a dehumidifier installed in our crawl space in hopes that it will control those moisture levels and humidity levels in our crawl space. And the advice that a lot of inspectors give homeowners to keep those vents open in summer would have worked years ago before we had AC, before we air conditioned our homes. So think about it. Now we have those cold boxes that are air conditioned in summer, and they're sitting on top of warm, humid crawl spaces. So what happens when you have a cold box on top of warm, humid area? You have this perfect condition for condensation to happen. And that is your, again, floor joists in your HVAC, if you have HVAC in your crawl space, and most crawl spaces do have HVACs. So before AC era, or before AC years, apparently homes did not have this issue. But now that we heavily rely on AC in summertime, this is the issue that we face, and this is something, again, you should not be ignoring. So again, this is not the video to scare you, because this is not the type of foundation you can completely avoid here in Western North Carolina. This is one of the most common foundation types because it's cheaper than, a basement. And with our terrain, this is basically the only option in many cases. But this is not the issues that may come with negative slope, with moisture levels, is not something that you should be ignoring. And especially when you're buying a home in Western North Carolina, you need to be kind of doing all the inspections, paying attention to what the inspectors say, and do not neglect that dark, useless, completely useless in many cases, humid feature of your future home. If you have any questions about buying a home in Asheville, relocating to Asheville, whether or not this area is even for you, because it is not for everyone, let's jump on an absolutely free, no strings attached consultation. My calendar link is down in the description, and I will catch you on the next one.